I want to show you the steps in processing local clay. So at this point, I've collected it from the site, I dried it in the sun, and then I was able to smash it up into a powder. And this will help with the release of a lot of the impurities that are in the clay and also make for an overall smooth and consistent clay to work with. I know that some potters choose to just soak the clay immediately in water and break the clumps down. That is a little bit dependent upon the clay consistency that you find, but I found it a little bit easier just to go ahead and dry it out and smash it up into a powder. For the next step, some things that you're going to need include a 5-gallon bucket and a screen from your kitchen. I just used one of these that you would strain pasta or things through, and then an old pillowcase. So I'm going to show you kind of what my clay looks like at this point. I'm going to move the camera down here a bit. And you can see that I have soaked the dry clay in water, and I soaked it for a couple of days, and you can see some of the organic matter kind of raising to the surface, which is good. I'm going to just stir it a little bit so that it runs through that screen really easily. So now it's becoming kind of like a liquid clay, a slip. And it's stirring quite easily. I'm not needing any kind of mixing bit or drill bit, and that is one of the benefits of drying out and then smashing down the clay into a powder form before adding the water. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of set up my straining system, which is going to include a 5-gallon bucket with a pillowcase. So I'm just lining the bucket with the pillowcase, folding it over the edge, placing the screen on top. So now I can pour the liquid clay through the screen. Now I have a little bit of thicker clay in the bottom, not much. Actually worked really well. Just going to move that through the screen as well. Just some of the heavier clay particles. I want all of that good stuff. Just to get that moving through the screen, I'm going to stir a little bit. And what I will have left are some fine pebbles that I really do not want in my clay. Now, my pillowcases, I know from past experiences with processing clay, they hold water pretty good. If you look at this, it's holding that water pretty good. But what I do is I just leave it sitting out on my grass for a couple of days, and that water slowly seeps out. And in the end, you will have a beautiful clay body processed inside. I am finally at the last step of processing one of the 2 clay bodies that I found locally. This is a more orange clay body that I discovered. I was a little uncertain how workable this clay would be because when I was pulling it from the bank, the plasticity was just so-so. It was not that easy to work with, not nearly as easy to work with as the white clay that I found. But I want to show you kind of what it looks like here. I did screen it and then put it through a pillowcase. So I let it sit out in the grass on sunny days in the pillowcase for about 2 afternoons. It took a couple of days because this pillowcase really kind of held the water quite well and held a lot of moisture in. I then had to store it for a little while in a 5-gallon bucket because I couldn't get to it due to rain. But I want to kind of show you a little bit what this looks like. This is the color of the clay body that I discovered. And I'm actually very pleased with the plasticity of this. Okay, you can see that it is staying together nice. Okay, I'm going to, on a piece of canvas that I have, I'm going to go ahead and just wedge a little tiny bit and see if I can begin creating kind of a pinch form with it. And it wedges wonderfully. This clay is much easier to use than I expected. This is the clay body that I was a little more worried about. So I have it balled up. I'm gonna do a basic pinch form. It is a little on the wet side. I'll probably let it stiffen after I pinch a general shape before I refine the form. But you can already tell that this is most certainly a beautiful clay body. So I'm excited to get these walls a little bit thinner as it stiffens up a little bit. I'll probably leave it sit out in the sun a bit today, let it stiffen, pinch my walls thinner, see how well the surface refines, and then I'm so excited to get this dried out. And then the next time we're doing s'mores, I'm gonna throw these pots in the bottom of the fire and hopefully achieve a low bisque temperature. And we'll do some testing later to see how high of a temperature this particular clay body can withstand. I just took the white local clay out of the pillowcase and I'm checking for its plasticity and workability and just want to see if I can start creating form with it. It still is a little bit tacky, but I'm excited to just show you what the pinch forms are going to look like. And then I hope to actually throw with it next. This is a really nice clay. So let me move the camera down so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So this is what the white clay looks like after processing. It's a really nice color so far. So after I left it in the pillowcase, and it really took a couple of days to stiffen, I then put it out on the canvas in a bull's head shape and stiffened it a little bit more in the sun that way. And it's really taking a long time to dry out through the processing, so don't be concerned if it ends up taking a little while. Really, the bulk of the time spent in processing clay is really just waiting for each step. So I'm going to go ahead and wedge it up. So you can see by the surface it's sticking to my hands really easily. It's still a little on the tacky side. But I can already tell that my walls are able to get a lot thinner with this clay body than that more orange local clay that I was finding. I mean, that wall thickness is looking awesome. I'm gonna actually finish pinching this form when it's a little stiffer, but check out how thin I'm able to get those walls, and because of the moisture level, of course, there's no cracking going on. So, so those are my pinch tests. I'm going to let it stiffen a little bit more before I get it on the wheel, but I'm excited to throw with this clay. I want to do a little throwing with the local clays that I found, so we'll see how this works. I have a suspicion that the white clay is going to be a lot easier to throw with than the more orange colored clay body, but I'm going to try both. I'm going to start with the white clay because then if my wheel gets messy, I don't have to worry about mixing orange with the white. So this is the white clay body that I found. It's on the tacky side, but it is stiff enough to work with. I already wedged it. It's ready to go. Let me tilt this for you so you can see a little bit better. Whoopsie, hang on. There we go. This is super smooth. It is, almost feels as smooth as a porcelain clay that we work with in the studio. It's so soft, it centers quite easily. It's also very easy to throw off center. It's not super consistent, it seems. It's having some slight consistency issues that I think maybe I needed to spend some more time wedging it. But I'm able to get the walls extremely thin. This is a really nice clay. So I want you to see this wall thickness right now because it's throwing so nice and thin. That is, if I can get the bat off, there we go. Look how thin I'm able to get with that. So that was a great test. Let's check the other clay body out and see how that goes. Now, this orange clay body, it started to stiffen up at a really fast rate. Getting it to stick to the bat here. I have a feeling this is going to be entertaining. It's even harder to center, actually. This is a lot sandier, very coarse in texture. Definitely more challenging to throw with. It feels like it's going to break apart. It feels extremely high in grog or sand content. But I'm surprised I'm able to get as thin as I can. But I definitely am struggling more with this clay. So this is the local clay after processing, so I did not add in any other types of clay into this. This is out of the ground and processed. So definitely not what I would call a very pretty pot, but I still was able to make a pot. Let me try it. It's tough to remove a ring on this clay because it's so sandy. That's an itty bitty little pot. So you can see my wall thickness is okay, but check out the color difference on these two clays. It's really neat to see two distinctly different clay colors so close together in our area. So I'm going to let these dry out and I'm going to try to trim them. I'm curious if this one with a really high grog content or a high sand content, if that's going to crack a lot. It may not survive. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated.